Right.
The aura is just your brother.
Yeah. All right. But well, now that we've got pop culture handled,
that's important.
You got way more aura, Doc.
Yeah. All right, Doc. So here's the deal, and the chat yesterday looked to you when we started talking about the NBA Finals and Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously it sucks tearing an Achilles in Game 7 with everything on the line, your career-defining moment, all of it. But Doc, the people asked right away, can you guys ask Doc Pierce, why is this happening? The Achilles, Doc. And look, I have my suspicions. I'm sure a lot of people have theirs. First off, I guess, why do you think it's happening more? And then we'll get into what it is, I guess. Why is it happening more?
You showed me a couple things. I think I've always said, because there's loads that we can talk about. We can get a little medical, but why? Okay, is there increased use? Is there increased reps? I know people are running towards that. I think the game has changed, that you're putting different pressures on the body with the step back. I think the step back, I've already kind of brought that up, that the step back, when you're moving forward at a high velocity to create that space, that's a big acceleration and deacceleration, which is taking a big toll on the body itself, and especially the Achilles and the gastrocs. Because to do that stop and create that space, we're showing the anatomy of the big calf muscles, the gastrocs, something called the soleus. The soleus can actually tear. And the thing is, like, you see the white part there, that's considered the tendon. Every muscle attachment has a tendon. This is one of the biggest, longest tendons in our body. And what happens is sometimes I look at, those people that have those long legs and that big gastroc, that tendon being longer actually puts you at a disadvantage. So a lot of times leapers, guys.
Oh, okay. So, and to interrupt you for a second, like the size of basketball players.
Right. You
6'7",
have a longer
6'8",
tendon.
6'10". Yeah. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
You have that long, no, interrupt me because I go on. But yeah, it's that longer tendon that kind of puts it at a disadvantage. Like when I'm training my young residents and stuff, we'll pull that out as a risk factor, right? So you got to be careful that muscle is always stretched, always proven to be as full length and in good condition in its full length. So that's something we need to focus on. So here we're just showing the anatomy. If we want to get into why, I know, who was it, Jay Williams?
Yeah, Jay Williams talked about it.
I know he was talking about nobody wants to talk about it, but it's the business of it, which I think you're alluding to, is basically we have more pressure on them. They have to be entertaining. They have to do things over and above. That's always been part of the game. That's always been an entertainment thing. I think we're more protective of the players. You talk to the alumni, which I'm going to be with some of them on Sunday with the big three, but and I'll ask their opinions. I think the guys are, I really think it's about the step back, the difference in the game. Kind of like I always refer back to Mac when the game changed there with the sports hernias. We had to make adjustments. I think the best thing that William says, if you guys are showing the interview, is that we need to invest more in sports science. I think the sports science is underutilized in all sports.
Even in the era of $500 million athletes.
Even in the era of $500 million.
Wow.
But we're learning, right? We have more science than we did. We have more understanding. Medicine's growing. We're not, in the penicillin days. We're growing.
Well, Spenny is sometimes, but that's a different story for a different time. Sorry, Doc, go ahead.
Spenny ferments in different categories. No, Spenny's been doing great. I gotta give a shout out. He's really being aware of his body. We'll have another show about that.
Thank you, Doc.
The Spenny.
We should do that. Like kind of tell our stories a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of break down how that works.
They
That'd
probably
be a good idea.
would. Probably be inspiring to all those lovers out there.
Doc, you brought it up, but my question to you is, what is the hockey equivalent? And would it be the groin injuries that we all suffered back in the day, how like the core became more of the focus in the mid-90s because we were all tearing our groins and stuff like that? Would that be the equivalent?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Achilles, look, what is he? He shouts out 8 full Achilles tears this year, with a lot of people on the sidelines with strains. I ripped on Curry a little bit for not showing up for the playoffs, but when you go to Kevin Durant, probably the most dramatic, and now this has overcome that. These guys, it's an industry. They're the self business. When you guys were out for sports hernias, you weren't coming back in 2 weeks.
No.
You were taking 6 months to a year. This is what we're talking about with Achilles right now. The science will improve. The science of recovery, repair, how to deal with it will improve because of this right now. You're going to look at a whole shift, just like the ACL injury, the anterior cruciate ligament. It was a lot of the professionals that changed the science. We'll be a lot more vested because you know what? It leads to more money of recovery. So the better we can do, the better repair, there's financial reward in it too.
In the super chat, by the way, jump into the Woodward Sports chat thread. Nobody with the super chat. If you're going to school right now, just remember you'll learn more here than some quack talking about Pythagorean theorem. Big D energy equals a big brain. So that is true. Hey, we educate our people here.
We have a learned doctor on
We have
right
a learned
now.
doctor on the show right now, as a matter of fact. Doc Rock, Doc Pickleball, Doctor to the Stars, helps guys win Stanley Cups, all of it. He is Dr. Pearson. He is here. No, but Doc, my angle of it is, it's along the lines of what you said. We are in an era, because we have $500 million athletes, and I know the people probably aren't going to want to hear this, but it's real. I believe it's real and it's true. Is basketball. You have these guys that play their season. If you're a good team, you play into June to the middle of June. Maybe it's an Olympic year. You play in the Olympics the next year. If you're perennially a good player, you are playing into June regularly. It's just, and in this day and age, you're talking international games and all that travel and everything like that. I think just in an effort to literally juice every single dollar we can out of every situation. I think soccer is going to be the next sport where we see this, where you're going to see a run of this. Next year, soccer players that are playing in this Club World Cup right now, and the Gold Cup's going on. Remember, the season starts in August, like the Premier League and La Liga and all that. They're going to play their season, Doc. For the teams that win and win their league and are playing right till the end, they will have a grand total of about 3 weeks off before they go to World Cup, the biggest soccer event in the world.
Right.
Like, what's the line, Doc? Like, you can't. How much time? And I understand it's sport specific, that there's a sport specific answer, but this is my job here. I put you in kind of untenable situations,
Always.
unreasonable situations, and there is no blanket answer. Ballpark it, Doc. If you are a professional athlete, how much time should you have off in the off season?
It's a hard question.
Yes, it's not
If you
fair.
have to be
I
up and
understand.
running, the guys can do it. If they have their leisure, like, we were running when we were in the Stanley Cup playoffs for, years after years. They knew they had to condense their recovery. They had their 1 week, 2 weeks to blow off, to do everything, to golf, just to be stupid. But within 2 weeks, they were back in the gym with active recovery. So don't forget, recovery doesn't mean just going to eat bonbons and drinking beers. There's something called active recovery, which is, you get out of sports specific, you get to muscle balance, you get into to training your body. Hockey players at the end of the year, and obviously I've had the most experience with them, they have no upper chest. They're losing weight. Their lower bodies are huge. They're in major muscle imbalance. Soccer players are the same way too. They have no upper body strength really. They have to lift to create that. The game itself doesn't create that. Where football, you're creating a more of a full body workout. Basketball, full body workout, but still more lower extremity stuff. You have to create that balance to improve your core musculature. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
No, it is. This was pretty funny too. Graybeard 78. When they wore Chuck Taylors, 0 blown Achilles. I'm just saying. But then Denver Blair in the chat says they weren't cutting in Chuck. Step backs. The game has evolved.
Were dunks even legal back then? Like that.
Yeah.
Putting a lot more stress on your joints nowadays.
No, there's a lot more. Look, these guys are bigger athletes back in the day. I mean, I always refer to Dr. J and Gervin, which they were ahead of their time. They were a step out. You're looking at he wasn't gliding, he wasn't doing anything. It's the activity of the game itself. Is it bad luck? No, there's some sports science behind it And I think it is. Spency, if you go to the concentric and eccentric, can I get technical for a minute?
Yeah. Geek out for a minute, Doc. Go ahead. Let's do it.
So there's eccentric strengthening, which the easiest way to show it is through the bicep, because everybody understands a bicep curl. So the bicep curl is concentric. That means you're shortening the muscle. You're shortening and strengthening is the understanding. But in the reverse, when you go down, which is now becoming more popular to build your muscle, you have to go slow. Like a lot of times power up and then come down. That's the wrong way to do it. It's 2 up, 4 down. So you do the concentric in the bicep when it's coming up, and the eccentric,
yes.
when you come down, it lengthens and strengthens. So you're lengthening the muscles. So when you look like, when you do a step back, you're doing that powerful shortening to go forward, and then you have to kick back, and you lengthen that muscle, and it puts it at a disadvantage. So it's the eccentric when you're coming back. You'll step forward where you shorten, and then as you extend and come back to hit that to get behind the 3-point line mostly, you're putting more power into a disadvantaged muscle. And I think, not getting too silly with this, but I think that's, if you think about it, you're lengthening the muscle as you step back, puts it at a disadvantage. You're in a longer torso of a basketball player, and you're creating all that force, right? You have to create a separation. We always talk about create a separation of a second. You can get around your guy or get away from your guy or get over your guy. That's what basketball's always been, but it was always a forward movement. Now we're creating this step back thing. I don't know if I'm getting too technical.
No, it's fine. I equate that to when Dr. IC for physicals and stuff like that, he's like, do you walk backwards on the treadmill? That's I would assume that's what he was driving at there. Right?
A little bit, but he's more talking about using your other muscles, as a full body, in your thighs, in your hips, in your glutes and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha. I just do what I'm told. When a doctor tells me to do it, I do it. So
good.
I don't
but you talk about the stretch, you talk about getting up. There's a reason why you want to do that. The only other thing I'd want to bring up with this is what was his treatment, because he went down in game 5, came back and played well in game 6 and game 7. Was he getting something that weakened that tendon even more? Which is some of the risk factors we talk about in the locker room and the closed doors, which we'll probably never really hear.
And Doc, this is our culture right now too, right? You do what it takes to be out there for a game 7. If it's a Tuesday game against Sacramento in February, that's different.
He's sitting.
This is game 7 where your legacy can change at the snap of a finger.
Yeah,
so he's going to be out there.
The other thing is the mental, right? The mental for his team. I don't know, Darren, I can't remember when a major player went down, the big injuries. But when your number one guy goes down,
whoa! Or when your microphone goes down,
just like that.
Halliburton. When your microphone
bad
goes down.
Achilles on that mic
just
stand.
like that. That was a simple move too.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, the mental for everybody else. For him, number one, you got to worry about it. Number 2 is the players around you when you have your leader go down.
Right.
There's the mental part of the game is so important, especially in basketball. I've seen so much talent that never makes it to the next level because of one mental commitment. It's just the mental. I don't want to get into psychology and all that, but I was proud of the guys stepping up and still, maintaining a competitive game after losing their player.
Yeah, no, they did. They went to battle. Yeah.
The other thing is, does OKC get a little asterisk after top player goes out on the opponent? You guys won by luck. No, I think they were a great team. It's sad to see. That's what Game 7s are about. But the doctor and the training staff play a major role in championships that are not brought to the forefront. So a shout out to all the medical teams that work tirelessly.
As always, Doctor, we
Attention
appreciate
sports fans,
it.
don't
It
miss
was
out on
very, very
expert sports injury insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.